Good morning, y'all. Welcome back to Sidewinder Shed. Today is Wednesday, July 8th, 2026, about 7:22 in the morning. And yeah, I'm off work this week. Where I work at, they shut down usually for about a week around the 4th. A few years ago, they used to do it. We used to get 10 days, 10 working days. We used to get 2 weeks. But nobody does that anymore, you know. But anyway, it's still nice. And yes, it is paid time off. That's why they don't give us the 2 weeks anymore. They knocked it down to one. But it's about, honestly, it's only about 2/3 of what I make in a regular week. So it is a short paycheck, but at least it's a paycheck. At least they're paying me, and I don't have to use any of my vacation time or any of my personal time or anything to get by. Um, and yes, I do have the option to work if I wanted to. Hell, I don't want to work when I have to work, so I'm not going to work when I don't have to, and they're still going to pay me. So anyway, good morning, Philip. Oh yeah, I'm kind of explaining what I'm doing here right now. I'm off this week, and the weekend was kind of busy. The wife was in the hospital again, and she got home this weekend, so I was a little preoccupied with her over the weekend, and she's doing okay. Matter of fact, what was keeping me busy was trying to keep her ass in bed or in the chair and not doing anything. And hell, day before yesterday, I went out in the shed and I was working on some projects. I come in, found out she cleaned the whole bathroom by herself, and I mean, not just a quick wipe down. She had the bleach out. She had the scrubbies out, had everything, and I didn't realize it, but when I found out she'd spent 2 hours in there cleaning it, I'm like, Jesus, you can't do that. Um, and she's paying for it. She's paying for it. She's in pain right now. She was in pain yesterday, but she's stubborn. And hello, Eric. Glad to see you here too, buddy. And anyway, yeah. So I didn't get to do a live stream this weekend, and right now I'm kind of procrastinating. See what the weather's going to do. Is I know it's going to be very humid today. The temperature's not supposed to get much above the 80s. Um, but we got thunderstorms just a few miles south of us, so it's making everything just miserably humid. And I don't know if we're going to get hit with any rain. I mean, it's one of those deals. I know some of you have seen it, where you can actually see the wall of rain coming down, but you're dry. You go just another mile away, and it is a tsunami, and that's kind of what we're dealing with right now, and it's supposed to last all afternoon. But anyway, so I figured while I'm sitting here procrastinating and deciding if I want to do a dump run or go to a recycling plant, load up my truck. Trying to see what the weather's doing and where it's going to be at. Oh, I gotcha. Wake up and get up and wake up the roosters. Yeah, I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning myself. Oh, yeah, Eric, I know this is not my usual day, not my usual time, and that's what I was kind of explaining here. I just figured I'm letting the wife sleep and everything, and when she gets up, I'll make her breakfast and everything. But right now I'm just I've been up since 3 o'clock, and yeah, I figured I'd just get online. Oh my God, Philip, yes, yes, I missed talking to you, buddy. I miss having my co-host. I miss having my co-host. Yeah, yeah. If you got time, sir, come on, hop on, because again, I don't have a whole lot to say as per usual, but I know if you come on, we'll start gabbing away here for the next hour or two. I know that much. So you're always welcome, sir. But yeah, a few of the little projects. Cleaning up the shed, believe it or not. You couldn't even walk through it, and my brother-in-law John started on it, and yeah, we've been out there. Um, and I put as we're going through it and finding stuff I forgot I had a couple of small lawnmower engines, and I was deciding on whether I wanted to keep them or not. So I tore them down a little bit, cleaned them up. They're good engines, so I'm going to keep them. And my sister Carol is here. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, if y'all are going to type, I have got to get my spectacles on. I can't see. Mhm. Yeah, exactly, Carol. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been working on some little projects out in the shed, but seems every time I leave her unsupervised, she uh she goes ahead and does something that she shouldn't be doing, and I just don't want her to end up back in the hospital, because then I'm left all alone to be unsupervised, and hell, I can get myself in more trouble than she can get herself in. So yeah, if she's not here to keep me in line, God knows what'll happen. But anyway, good morning. How are you doing this morning? Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, like I said, I've just been piddling around. Made some good progress in the shed. Right up until I started working on those engines, and the the one clean area I had is dirty now. So that's the other thing. Got to go back out, clean that up, and again, we got piles of stuff that need to go either to the junkyard, to the dump, or to the recycling place. Get rid of those and clean everything up. Oh, you're gonna go see our sister? Awesome, awesome. Well, tell everyone over there I said hi, and Philip said he'd be joining me. So no telling, I might still be doing a live stream by the time you get over there, if anyone's interested. And my other sister Janice, who my sister Carol right now is said she's going to go visit. Her daughter, my niece Lisa, has mentioned that she wanted to hear some more of my stories about growing up, and a lot of this is shared because she grew up with her, so it bring back a lot of memories when we were younger. And I'll be honest with you, for the life of me, I can't think of any stories to tell right now, but it's something I will think about. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Sarah. It was Sarah. It was my sister Carol's daughter that was asking about that. Okay, my mistake. Anyway, good Lord, yes. That's right. I'm sorry, Carol. Tell Sarah I apologize. I'm sorry. I get confused. Matter of fact, I was actually telling John a story about when I went camping with uh, with my first wife, Carly, and the kids and her kids, and how her oldest daughter, Michelle, come running out of the tent about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, scared to death because she thought she could hear a bear, and it turns out it was just somebody snoring. Now, unfortunately, I blame that on Kenny because everybody knows how much Kenny snores. But then I had to think about it, and it was actually Matthew. It was Matthew that was snoring that woke her up. Oh, I hate that, Eric. You get an idea, you're like, man, yeah, next live, I got a story, I got something I got to tell them, and yeah, well, what happened was, buddy, this is not a regularly scheduled live like you're used to. So yeah, you totally lose the thought. I understand that. I'm sorry, my friend, but I hate when that happens. And the older you get, the more often it happens. It's terrible. But anyway, yeah, I like I said, um, as the years go by, your memories, it's not like a videotape. It's not like it was actually recorded. So some things get a little confusing. You mix up a few details. Usually the stories have the same outcome, but some of the details, and some of them are important, get a little get a little fuzzy. Like I said, I confused Matthew with Kenny at first till I thought about it. I was like, Kenny wasn't there. That was Matthew. And again, I'm sorry I confused Sarah with Lisa for a minute, and that was my bad. What can I say? I'm getting old, and I wasn't ever bright to begin with, but it's getting worse. But all right, Philip, I see you, buddy. I'll add you here in just a second. Good morning, sir.
Hi, how's it going?
It's
Let me
going,
get
my friend.
let me get set up here just a little bit.
I got you. I got you. What'd you
Let's
have
see
for
if I can.
breakfast? What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I haven't had breakfast yet.
Okay. Okay. I'm getting a kick out of those videos, man. I do like watching them. I do like what I mean. Yeah.
I can't. I'm still messing with this phone here. Hold on a second.
Alrighty.
You just keep talking. I'm going to try to see if I can figure out what to do here.
All right. My sister Carol's asking about how I'm doing with the smoking. Um, yeah, I'm not having a problem with it at all. No issues. Chris is doing really good. Yes, she is still smoking, but she doesn't even smoke a full cigarette. She'll just take a couple drags when she needs it, and she's doing real good. All right, Philip, you're back. Me on the other hand,
Yeah,
I'm
sort of.
I'm not doing too bad. I've actually cut my my intake in half. Um, so I'm smoking half as much, and right now it's a little different. Coffee, and yes, it's coffee. Coffee. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna have to quit coffee if I definitely want to quit cigarettes because I cannot have a coffee without a cigarette. It
Right.
just,
Same
you
here.
know,
Can't have a beer without a cigarette either. You
yeah.
know.
Well, the beer I haven't had. I haven't had because
Yeah.
I know that much. I know that much. God, that's how I started smoking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't had a beer in 2 weeks. I think.
Oh, really?
Well, at least this week at all. Yeah, no.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, the beer is a lot of people get confused, and I've said it over and over and over. I don't, I don't desire, I don't need alcohol or beer. I enjoy it. It's nice,
Yeah.
and I
You
do
know, same
enjoy it,
here. In
but
fact, ever since my wife's passing, I find myself drinking less and less. I don't know if there's a correlation there or not, but
oh, I got you.
anymore, anymore in the evening times, I'll think to myself, geez, I'd like to have a beer, and I'll go and have a beer, and then with the intent of having a few. And after that first beer, I'm like, nah, this is not what I want.
Right? Yeah, no,
Put
I
it down.
understand that.
Go
That
make dinner.
as a matter of fact, the last beer I drank, same mindset, same everything. It was just like, look, nobody's here, nothing's going on.
Hmm.
And my normal routine, yeah, well, I'll have, a few beers. I ain't got nothing to worry about. I had the one,
Yeah,
I was like, you know what? The one was absolutely perfect. The one was just what I needed and
just
all I
right.
wanted. And I was like, I even had a second one sitting, and I was like, I don't want it. So I put it back in the fridge, and it's still in the fridge,
Yeah.
you know. So that's, God, and I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, you haven't drank beer. Oh, you're doing really good." I'm like, "No, I'm not. It's like me not having pizza for 2 weeks. All it is a
Yeah.
food craving.
Hmm.
It's nothing else." The cigarettes, on the other hand, yeah,
For me, when
that's
it
an
comes to
addiction.
any kind of food craving, I don't. Well, I shouldn't say I don't crave a food, but when I get those feelings, it's always got something to do with chocolate. I gotta have
Yeah,
chocolate. And
I
it's
guess.
normally a cake of some sort, like a cupcake or something.
Mhm.
Gotta have one. In
Well,
fact, what I've been doing to quell that is nearly every evening I make myself a glass of chocolate milk using chocolate syrup,
yep, yep. I
and
have
that'll
done that.
normally, and I'll do that just before I'm ready to settle in for the night, and that does it for me.
It's you know what? I do the same thing, and it's funny too. And I know I've read this somewhere. Chocolate hits the same pleasure centers as nicotine does.
Yeah,
And so a lot of times at night, or if I'm really jonesing bad
yeah,
and I'm really trying to behave, instead of lighting up a cigarette, I will make myself a glass of chocolate milk. And that it doesn't eliminate, my jonesing for a cigarette, but it helps so much. The only problem is too, I don't have a whole lot of money to buy new clothes, so I don't want to put on. I mean, I've already lost 12 pounds, so I've been doing good. And I don't want to put, 30 pounds on
yeah,
and have to buy new clothes because I can't
yeah,
afford.
yeah. Can't afford anything nowadays. In
No.
fact, I was just going through the my shopping list, online, and just seeing just the household essentials. Very little of it is food. It's mostly toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning, cat
Yep.
food, cat litter, household items. With the exception, of course, I need coffee and sugar, and I didn't get any bacon or didn't put eggs or anything like that on it. I did put 1 pound of hamburger on there. But anyway, the point is that just with these household items, it's still at like $211,
Yeah.
and I haven't even really thought about the foods yet, as to what I'm going to get because I like having smoked sausage a lot. So I was thinking
Yep.
smoked sausage. I like doing those little tiny smoked sausages and
Oh,
sauerkraut. You
yeah.
put that in a
Yep.
pot. That's always good. And in fact, I left myself a little note on my spice rack that I'm out of fennel seeds. So that's not on the list yet. The point is, and I got to go do some shopping today. I'm out of just about everything. And in fact, my last video was just that about how
Uh,
I'm
it,
out of everything. This is the last of my pancake batter, the last of my sauces, the last of everything.
yeah. You
Last
know what?
egg, you know.
Here's one of the things. Most of the time, my wife and my brother in law do the shopping. All right. Very
Uh-huh.
rarely do I go shopping.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll kick in the money. I just don't want to
Yeah.
be bothered going shopping. I hate
Yeah.
food shopping. And excuse me. The whole time she was in the hospital. No, I did not go to the store. And so we're running low on supplies too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You
one
know
of
when?
the
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say this is something I have got to mention because one of the very, very surprising, and I really do appreciate it. One of my coworkers, John, his wife and him um, made a bunch of food for me and Chris over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
All cooked, all prepackaged. All you got to do is heat it up. For when she was getting released from the hospital. Problem was I didn't know what day, and I went down and look. I have John. I know John just subscribed to my YouTube channel too, so I hope him and his wife see this. It was totally unexpected. It came in so helpful, so nice, and I'll be honest with you, they made enough food. We've had it for 3 days,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I mean it was good enough too that you
Yeah.
don't mind eating it for
It was like
three
when I made
or
my
4 days.
hamburger
It was
helper
awesome.
lasagna. I ended up with a big old giant pan, the biggest pan that I have outside that big giant 18-inch iron skillet that I got. This is a regular stovetop pan. It's the biggest one I've got. I think it's like 12 or 14 inches in diameter. I think it's 12-inch. And that thing was full to the top with the hamburger helper lasagna that I made because I add a lot of extra stuff into it. I add extra Italian sausage and spaghetti sauce and more cheese and stuff. But the point is, I ended up with a big old giant pan because I love this stuff, but I'm the only one eating it. So what I did was, once I served up myself dinner that night, then I just put the whole pan right in the refrigerator and let it chill overnight. And then the next morning, I got it out and sit there and sliced it all up into single serving slices, and then wrapped it up in that Saran wrap, and then froze it. And I've still got like 3 pieces of it left still in the. Oh, look at there! The sun's starting to come up.
Oh yeah,
See,
yep,
I'm an hour behind you here,
yeah,
so. But
yeah.
you know
Well,
what? As soon as that sun gets above them trees, it's going to get hot as hell. Because right now, here's the thing: you talking about the rain? We've been getting rain. It's typical to get afternoon rains here, and we
hmm
got our afternoon rain yesterday, and everything's still soaking wet. There's still water puddling, and you know what's going to happen when that hot sun hits it? It's just going to turn it into steam.
Oh
You know,
yes, yep,
so
yes. I do understand that. Matter of fact, I'm sitting here
yeah.
wondering.
I'm looking up right now, and I can see nothing but blue
Oh,
skies.
yeah, I was sitting here wondering why it was getting stuffy. I, I forgot to
Uh-huh.
turn the ceiling fan on.
Yeah,
That's a tiny ceiling fan, but if you're sitting under it, it's like
it's
a
enough,
regular
right?
blower.
Yeah.
It moves some air for
Yeah.
being tiny. It moves some
I
air.
had to do this because we've already been getting them 97-degree days. And here's what happens. Uh, that once that sun gets overhead, like at noontime from noon to like 4, it just gets so hot in the house that
Yep.
the air conditioner can't keep up. And so I ended up sticking in a second window air conditioner on the backside of the house,
Yeah, well,
and
that's
just,
I
to
got the
keep up.
same I got the same problem because the way this house is sitting also, um, I have no trees around it for shade.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and where
Well, there's
where
tall
where
trees
the
here, but
sun
they don't do you any good for most of the day. It is until the sun's setting or rising, as you can see,
yeah,
you know. But
well,
once it gets above them trees,
I don't really even have that because the direction that the house is situated in too.
yeah, oriented,
Uh,
yeah,
all right, the sun is always hitting it. There's no
yeah,
rise until it
yeah,
goes below the horizon. So the house
yeah.
is always baking.
And
Last
this
week we
this
had
place
we
here's got black shingles on top of the roof too.
oh
That's the
yeah,
worst thing you can do. In fact, my old house, when it was time to re-roof it, it had black shingles on it,
yeah,
and that's the first thing I did is take them off, and then I put galvanized steel
yep.
up
I
there
got
because knowing that the galvanization will reflect a lot of that light,
yep.
you know, I want because you can get it in any color you want, And
Oh
what
yeah.
seems to be popular around here is green.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
but green's a dark color. It's not. It's still going to get hot. You know, but that seems to be a real popular color around here. There's one guy down the road here though. He did a. His was a copper color to make it look like you got a copper metal roof. You know,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and and it looked pretty good until the sun faded it. You know, and it doesn't because it's just a copper color. It's not real copper. It's not
Right.
even a. You know, it's not even. It didn't turn green. You know, like it should.
Mhm.
You know.
Yep.
It's just sun bleached, you know, like everything gets around here.
Oh yeah.
This the sun around here will just destroy everything, you know.
Yep.
But did you catch my video on making my homemade butter?
I saw it, but I did not watch it.
Mhm.
I haven't
Yeah,
watched it yet.
I made a short video about that because the intent was to make you know, some biscuits and gravy,
Yep.
but I realized I was out of my flour that I used to make the biscuits with, so
Oh good.
uh, but yeah, check that out because it's kind of a it's a really simple process. It's easy to do, and you get some of the best dang butter out of it. And you don't have to follow all the way through. You can actually stop midway through the process, and you end up with this sweet, creamy butter
Yeah,
out
I
of it.
got you. Yep.
You know, and that is just delicious. And but if you finish the process, you end up with just regular butter, and it always tastes better than the store bought stuff. You know.
I got you. Now, do you use regular, whole milk that's been pasteurized and homogenized, or do you
No,
just
what I
use
use is
homogenized milk?
what I do is I buy a little pint of that heavy whipping cream.
Every whip. Oh,
And
okay. Yeah. Yep.
you just add a teaspoon of salt into a mason jar and just start shaking it up. And eventually it separates out. You
Yep.
get the cream off the top of it. And you mix sugar in with that. You can scrape the cream off the top once it starts to form. You scrape that off and put in a couple of tablespoons of sugar and mixed in with that, and that's good that way. That's perfect for putting on a cupcake or something, you
Oh,
know.
I got
That's
you.
good like that. And and but yeah, that's all I use. You just sit there and shake the heck out of it. And at one point, you just watch the video, you'll see that the whey comes off it, and you save that whey because you can use that whey to make biscuits with.
Okay.
Right?
I
If
got
you
you. Yeah.
got you got some of that Bisquick or something, you know, you can just. In fact, if you got any kind of self-rising flour, that'll work. But Bisquick works the best.
Yeah. I bought a little while ago. I bought a 100-pound bag of self-rising flour.
Oh
I got
yeah,
yeah. I got
100 pounds.
yeah. I got 4 bins full of it. So I got plenty of flour. And
Yeah.
then I also get about 25 pounds of whole wheat
You
flour,
know what? I
and
bought I bought a like a 50-pound bag of bird seed, and I'll tell you what, I can't believe how quickly I went through that. It's only been I don't think it's been 2 weeks yet.
oh my god,
You
yeah,
know.
yep,
So, but I've got an awful lot of birds out here in the
yeah,
morning. It's funny. What started all that was I had the. If you know about mourning doves, first of all, they pair up and they mate for life. They're just two birds, and when they have offspring, they have only one at a time.
okay,
So you know, and they really kind of struggle. And there was one that there was a pair that I was watching for years, and then all of a sudden I noticed that there was only one. There wasn't a pair anymore,
oh,
and you can't make more with only one, you know.
right, right,
But now since I've moved here, I noticed another mating pair that's been hanging around. So I thought I'd give them some food. And that was farther down on the property. But they've managed to figure out that to come up here for birdseed too, because I was putting birdseed down there, but they figured out to come up here. And now it's like they were talking to all their buddies because now I come out here, there's 15 and 20 dang mourning doves out here every
oh
morning, you
god,
know?
yep,
And everybody's fighting over it because here's the funny thing. The whole reason why this started was because there were squirrels out here in the yard and I watched them scrounging for acorns and whatnot. So I thought I'd put out a few peanuts. And then I noticed that these squirrels, they live in these trees and each tree is its own territory.
oh,
And
okay,
one
yep,
squirrel will come from one tree over to the other tree to get the peanuts. And then there's a fight, you know?
yep,
So then I
yep,
start putting peanuts underneath that tree and then another tree and another tree, you know? I even got squirrels coming running across the road to come over here to get peanuts from these squirrels, you know. So I start putting peanuts on the other side. And here was where I'm going with that. Then I noticed that the birds are starting to eat the peanuts too. So I thought, well, I'll put out some bird seed for the birds. I got bird seed out, but the squirrels are going over there and eating the bird seed too. You know, squirrels are they're like thugs around here, you know,
Oh yeah, no
they're
shit.
gangsters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so at one point I just decided, no sense in buying peanuts and birdseed. I'll just buy all birdseed, let the squirrels eat it too, and it went from a 20-pound bag to a 40-pound bag, now a
yeah,
50-pound bag.
yeah. My
Now I'm
my
gonna have to cut that out though.
yeah.
So
My
I'll tell you what,
sister
that stuff's
Carol.
expensive.
My sister Carol has an issue with the squirrels too, and she don't particularly
Yeah,
care for them. But I
yeah,
also want to give a shout out to a friend of mine, Sean Lore, Sergeant
yeah.
Lore. He texted me. He's watching us.
Really?
He's busy doing some paperwork and doing some other stuff at the moment, but he was watching me, so I wanted
Yeah,
to give a shout
that's
out and
good.
say hi to him.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the old GMC has started another dang fuel leak on the same line, just in a different place. So I got that to look forward to. And here's what's crazy. So, there's one website where you can buy automotive parts cheap. They're half the price of what you'll get it at one of these brick and mortar stores.
Yeah.
And even there, they're charging $150 for one line. And of
Oof.
course, on this model, you have both a supply and return line,
Yep.
and the return line is in just as bad a shape as the supply line is. Just supply line's the one that's leaking, but it's only going to be a matter of time before the return line leaks too. So
Yep.
you're best to just buy the kit that has both lines. And when you get the kit that has both lines, it also has all the little mounting tabs
Okay.
so
Yes.
you can
Yep.
mount the
Yep.
line in place because it is a flexible line.
Yep.
And that whole kit is $250.
Oh, good lord.
200, and we're talking about a piece of line that's only about 3 or 4 feet long.
Yeah, you know what I found that was interesting on my Dodge.
Uh,
Because it's a throttle body, so
yeah,
it has the two lines as well.
yeah,
The return line has been replaced, and I was
yeah,
looking at it,
yeah.
and what they replaced it with, and I don't know who did it, but it is a steel braided line, one to begin with,
Um,
but it's a marine steel
yeah,
braided
marine
line,
grade. Yeah,
and what that means is inside, instead of just straight rubber,
yeah,
it's PVC,
yeah,
or plastic in there. And
yeah,
that I'll be honest with you, from what I heard, that'll probably outlast me and the truck. The line
yeah. Well,
the
that's
line might be
exactly
the
what
only
I was.
thing that's still good 50 years from now.
That's exactly what I was looking at because of this alcohol that's in fuel now
Yeah,
that you almost can't get old fuel line.
right, right.
And this has got like a triple wall with that. I can't remember what they call it, but essentially it's Teflon. It's a Teflon interior,
Yep,
and it's a triple walled, and then the braided part is on the outside, and the braid is only to do two things: one, keep the line from expanding under high pressure,
yep.
and two, to prevent the
Abrasion.
inner linings from abrasion.
Yep,
You know, that's all the steel line is all about. But I
yeah,
gotta have it. It's either that or go with the factory original lines. And the reason why I'm opting for this option is because it's a flexible line
right.
as opposed to the rigid
Yep,
pre-bent line. Because in order to put the original lines back in these GMC trucks, you got to drop the engine and transmission, or at least drop the transmission out. And with
right.
this being four-wheel drive, that's a
Oh,
chore.
yeah, yeah,
And that's
yep,
because it's up above the transmission, clamped to the underside of the body.
yep.
They're actually shooting screws in there. That's where it mounts, is through screws that go up through the floorboard. You see, it's just that first of all, the floorboard's double walled, and they actually designed the thing to have these hollows, so the
Hmm.
screw can go in through one piece of sheet metal, but not through the other piece of
Right.
sheet metal up through the floor. So,
I gotcha.
but yeah, if you tried to go back with a factory replacement line, you got to at least drop the transmission out of it. And with it, once again, like I said, with it being a four-wheel drive truck and independent front suspension, that's a chore, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
So your best is just get the flexible line and try to snake it up in there, you know. But
Yep.
that's still a two-man job,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. So,
Yeah.
but
Good
yeah, I
lord.
got that to look forward to.
Oh yeah.
And
That's always
and I
fun.
told you that I'm on a halt with that uh Honda Goldwing because I just can't part with $1,000 for a dang starter.
Oh
You know,
Jesus.
that's
Yeah.
ridiculous. You know, I think the thing to do there is always park it uphill so that when you shut it off, you can roll it downhill and just push start it. You know.
I gotcha. I gotcha. And I mean, my God, years ago, back in the '80s, it was not uncommon, and I used to do it myself at two shops I worked at. One was a Harley shop, and just in the automotive industry too. Rebuilding starters and alternators. You had that was very common. Instead of going out and buying
Yeah,
something new,
you don't see that anymore.
no, you don't.
Because all of those guys that were skilled at doing that kind of stuff, they retired, you know, or
Yeah,
they died, you know, and no one seemed interested at the time to pick up that skill.
yeah.
And
Well, I
quite
mean,
frankly, I've never done one myself, you know, neither a
well,
starter or an alternator. But yeah, you used
yeah.
to be able to rebuild those things.
Well, one of the things was for longest time, for a couple decades at least, the price between having it rebuilt or buying a new one was so damn close
So close that,
that
yeah,
it was easier just go out, throw it
yeah,
away, go
yeah.
out, buy a new one.
That's true.
Um,
That's what killed that industry of having rebuilt starters and alternators. And here's another thing that killed it was the automobile manufacturers saying, "Oh no, these are so precision now. They got to be dead nuts on, and you got to buy our part." And they just keep doing that, you know.
yeah.
And that hasn't quit at all. But but it's kind of true because of the electronics. You know, the electronics are so dang sensitive. You can
Oh,
really
yeah.
screw something up.
Yeah, because when you're
So,
talking, microvolts, it only takes point 0.2 volts, and if you have a fluctuation and it's getting a
yeah,
half a volt, you just burnt out all your rectifiers, all everything
yeah,
inside,
yeah. Yeah, they're
and
so sensitive. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're it's and a lot of times it's not about voltage at all. It's about the resistance to the flow of current.
Yep.
And resistance to the flow of current can be fractions of a single ohm,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it reminds me, you speak of computers. Back in the '90s, I used to build computers,
Uh-huh.
and that was one of the things you had to be careful of, when you were physically building a computer. I used to wear a grounding strap
Yeah.
on my
Yeah.
wrist
Well,
and
just the
everything,
static
just
electricity would knock the whole thing out.
exactly, exactly. Brand new part, you're not thinking anything about it. You don't even notice any
Yeah.
sparks or anything, like you do with the balloon, or walking in socks across the carpet. You don't have a big jolt like that. Just the simple fact that you move forward in your seat and
Yep.
you don't even
Yeah.
see the
That's
zap,
it.
but you've just fried a component.
Yep. Yep. Because they're that dang sensitive.
Yep.
In fact, there was a company I was working at. I was working in the machine shop part of it. We were a company that that company was manufacturing all kinds of components for fighter jets. And I was in the shop and I was making little solenoids that, and what these solenoids did is it blew the canopies
Oh,
off. They
okay.
were the
Yeah.
latch mechanism.
Yep.
And these were these emergency solenoids that would quick release so the canopy could be blown off when a guy pulls the ejector, right?
Right.
The ejection seat. But over in another section of the company, they also did a lot of electromechanical stuff. And all these women were sitting there doing this tedious little stuff, tiny little, so you had to have a magnifying glass with you. And every one of them was wearing one of those ground straps, like you said, because you
Yep.
had to, you know,
Matter of
because
fact,
that, that,
my sister Carol, years ago, when I was a little kid, she worked at a place. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carol. It's Fenwall, where I think she was making some sort of electronic part, like little resistors or little transistors
yeah,
or something like that. And oh my God, she could probably tell you more about it. But yeah, um, but anyway, yeah, she used to do that. And
yeah.
good Lord.
My
Uh,
sister was working for a company that was they was practically the leader in smoke detectors, home smoke detectors. I'm
Yep.
not going to mention the name brand, but if I did, you quickly recognize it. And what was funny was at the time when she was working there, and she only worked there for about like 6 or 8 months, but for some reason there was a recall on a certain run of these smoke detectors that they were bad, And my sister even said, "Gee, I wonder if I did that," because she admitted she didn't know what the hell she was doing there. They hire you on, they plop you down in a seat, tell you what to do, and you just do what they tell you to do. So
I gotcha. Yeah, and I wanted to let Carol know. Yes, I was reading what you had said up here. Having trouble fixing my setup. I think she's talking about her video and everything. Her phone. My hair looks nice, thank you. My brother Tommy is down to 147 pounds. That's very light for him. He's having some medical issues.
oh boy.
Yeah, it rained constantly for 2 days to get down to 69 degrees. Shit, I'd be putting on a sweater. Um, she had to put her socks on. And Aiden and Captain Matt, her
Yeah, I see that.
fixed the tail light on her vehicle for $50. Hey, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what she was making. Probes, platinum probes in glass is
uh,
what. Yeah, I remember the little glass, little tiny, looked almost like, what do you call those little lights they got now that they're used. My God, I'm having a brain.
LEDs.
Yeah, LED. It looked almost like those.
Yeah.
Visually, I know they're not the same because
Yeah.
they weren't
Light
lights.
emitting diodes is
Yep.
what they are. They're not lights at all. They're diodes
Yep.
that emit light. And here's the thing about those, depending upon the kind of current that's going into it, that's what changes the colors.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and oh my God, if you've watched anything about these old vehicles too, especially the Dodges, because the way their electrical system is set up, and a lot of them go through the amp or quote unquote amp voltmeter.
yeah.
When they change headlights or dash lights or tail lights or something to LEDs, it throws everything off. Next thing you know, they're not charging, the lights aren't working right,
Yeah.
everything else, because
Yeah.
they were set
And
up
that's
for a
just it. You
certain.
can go to the Walmart and buy yourself LED replacement bulbs.
Yeah.
But boy, if you ain't got it right, you just start having problems left and
Oh
right. So,
yeah.
yeah, you're best to just kind of avoid that. Unless you know what the hell you're doing, you
Right.
should just leave it alone.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, the sealed beam headlights that this old Dodge takes.
Yeah.
I went. What was it? 2 years ago, I went to get one because they burn out.
Yeah.
They wanted, all right, to replace both of them was $250. I'm
Oh,
like, you're
yeah.
you're out of your friggin'
Yeah.
mind, and they didn't have them in stock anymore either.
Well,
And
that,
so,
yeah, the newer, and I mean, this is already going back 5 years and better, that the Chevy Tahoes and the like that have
yep,
them LED taillights, you can't just replace the bulb. They're all LED. You got to replace the
the
whole
whole
thing.
thing. Yep.
And prices start at $1,500.
Oh yeah, and here's the
You
bad
know?
thing: the LEDs, the lights can be fine if you bust the cover. It's all one piece.
Yeah.
You can't just get a tail light
Yep.
cover.
It's all one molded piece. Yep.
And I mean, I always thought that was asinine,
Yeah.
especially on a pickup truck. That happened to my nephew Kenny, by the way. Same thing. Um, it's a pickup
Hey,
truck.
keep going. I'm going to step away for a second.
Okay, yeah, it's a pickup truck. The tail light is going to get busted. The lens, some way, somehow, if you use the vehicle as a pickup truck, it's going to happen. But anyway, yes, Carol. Oh my God, when you lived at Interfaith, you had the best carpet there for building up static electricity. Good Lord, whether you wanted to or not. Um, yeah, I remember as a kid, all of us running around chasing each other, and yes, trying to zap each other on the nose. Yes, I do remember that. My God, fun times. Another one. Okay, all right. Well, like I said, tell everyone I said hi. I hope you have a good time. Um, but anyway, another thing I saw today. Another friend of ours here online. first responder. Well, no, it wasn't first responder. I watched him as well. It was Bear Rose Garage, Kim on Bear Rose Garage. He had an old lawn sprinkler out, and it just brought back memories of being a kid and running through the sprinkler and everything. And I thought that was kind of cool. It was just one of those things that hit me first thing in the morning, brought back some memories. Um, but God, yes. Uh, oh, okay, you're still there. All right. Well, let me know when you head out. But anyway, and Sergeant Lore, he had mentioned when we were talking about squirrels that sounded like Philip was fattening up the squirrels for a good dinner. Which there's an idea. When Philip gets back, I'll have to ask him about that. But my God, yes, he left me alone here, and I wasn't planning on it. So I have to babble on about stuff here. But yeah, talking about the cars, we've had that discussion before about the electronics and everything, and I'm still. I mean, they're nice when it works, and it's good for fuel economy and power and everything, and it's great when they're working. But I can't work on them myself. I'm not. I don't have the diagnostic equipment. I don't have the scanners. I don't have the tools, and nowadays too, it's awful. It's so hard to find a good replacement electronic part that's within your budget. But oh, Philip, while
Yeah.
you were gone, I wanted to mention something. When you were talking about squirrels,
Yeah.
my buddy Sean, son-in-law that's watching us, he he had said that it sounds like you're fattening up the squirrel for good eats.
Well, it might sound like that, but that's a bad idea because no matter how much you feed these squirrels down here, they're scrawny little things anyway.
I got you. I don't
Uh,
know. Let's see.
they're so tiny.
Oh God, no. The reflection, you can't see the damn squirrel he sent
Yeah.
eating the nut.
you know, uh, I want to touch on this subject for a minute. My roof is leaking. That's condensate. That's humidity that is condensated on this tin,
Yep.
and it's managed to find a nail hole, and it's dripping right down in the back of my neck.
Oh my God. Yep.
So, but anyway, here's one thing that I wanted to touch on. Uh, we'll start with the. I was just kind of scrolling through YouTube and a lot of the shorts, and there's this one guy on there. He's a guy that does all dad jokes all the
Oh,
time, you
okay.
know.
Yep.
And now he's apparently run out of jokes, so now he's posting up, these questions, asking people questions, and this last question was, what was something normal when you were growing up that kids nowadays would either not be able to understand or have trouble with.
Yep.
And I just had a whole list of them,
Oh my God.
Mm.
Yes.
And one of them was typewriters. I wrote typewriters. Kids
Yep.
they don't even know what a typewriter is now. They wouldn't know how to use one. They wouldn't understand the purpose. And then if you did explain to them how it worked and why it worked and what you did with it, they would think it's stupid.
Yep.
Why would I use a typewriter when I got my cell phone?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Why would I sit down and write a letter to somebody and put it in the mail when I can just text them?
Oh my God. And
But
the difference between a manual typewriter and
yeah,
electric typewriter, I
yeah,
doubt if they could press the keys,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the other thing that I wrote, because I wrote other things like phone booths.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah.
kids don't know what the hell a phone booth is.
Rotary
Uh,
dial phones. Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, all of that was on there. But the one comment that I made that got the most likes, because everybody's got 2, 3, 4 likes on their suggestions.
Yep.
Mine just kind of took off when I wrote, when Dad says, "Don't burn the house down while I'm gone."
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Because they didn't care if we died. They
Yep.
just didn't want the house to burn down.
Yep.
Oh, you're a kid. We can have another one of you. We can replace you. But, and I bring that up because I want to bring this up. that of course the news media has been all over, the 4th of July, with it being the 250th anniversary.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole time just kind of stuck at the house. One, because this weather, I can't do anything out in this heat,
Right. Right.
you know. But and a lot of the major networks, they just kind of take over all the channels. You can tell who's really in control,
Yep.
and that's the Disney Corporation and Viacom.
Yep.
They control every dang station on the television, and I got a a cable package that allows me to see hundreds of channels. And when you're sitting there and like the MTV Awards, when it's on 7 different
Oh
channels,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's all the Viacom thing, or like what the uh, ABC was doing, a 24 hours of celebration of the 250. Well, that's fine if it's on the ABC network, but it wasn't just on the ABC network. It was on every ABC, Disney Channel, everything. It was,
Yep.
which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you only get to celebrate the 250th once,
Yep.
you know. I remember when the 200th came around,
Oh yeah. Same here. Yep. The
and
bicentennial. Yep.
yeah, and but here's the other point: the television is, no matter what, and social media as well. They're just all over the history of the United States and the founding fathers and all this stuff. And at one point, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I know all of that. I know all of that, but then I realized there's a lot of people out there, especially young people, that they got not a clue,
Right.
not a clue. They don't know anything about the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence or what the founding fathers did. And that's where I want to go back to. Uh, what was his name? He's a very popular commentator back in the day. Well, his name escapes me now. I'll think of it in a minute. But he was talking. He does. You can still find him. He's passed away now, but you can still hear or see a lot of his writings and his lectures and stuff. Uh, but he talks about the founding fathers and what they actually sacrificed.
Right. Yeah. Oh my
You
God.
know,
Yes.
these
Yep.
were wealthy,
British
powerful,
citizens.
influential men that was
Yeah.
risking it all. And a lot of them did lose it all. They
Yep.
lost everything. They lost their wealth. They lost their estates. They lost their children. The British just killed them and destroyed them. A
Yep.
lot of guys lost a lot. And it was Abraham Lincoln, or not Abraham Lincoln, Benjamin Franklin, that during the signing of the Declaration, it is said that he proclaimed that this phrase. He says, "You have to understand, gentlemen, we must stick together or we will all hang separately."
Yep.
you know, and he was right that if the British had succeeded, if the America had not succeeded, if the founding fathers hadn't succeeded, uh, we wouldn't have this situation as we have it today.
Right.
And so, with that being said, hats off. You
Yep.
know, and when I'll tell you what, when you hear the national anthem, I have to stop and pay solemn odes to it. I don't care if I'm sitting there scrolling through a YouTube. If I come across a short video and someone's playing the Star Spangled Banner or something, you know, I got to stop and pay homage to it. I'll let it play through, you know.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like my sister just said. Um,
Yeah, they don't teach.
Cursive writing. They can't read the Constitution because they didn't learn cursive.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Teachers don't teach it anymore, and I find that amazing.
yeah.
All right. All
Yeah,
right.
we're
My.
going through a transitional phase here that any more gifs and LOLs and stuff like that, that's the new language.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's the new language,
Yep. Well, I
And
mean, language, does evolve because if you were to go back to My God, go back to the 14, 15, 16, 1700s and try to speak English. It does not sound
No, yeah.
anywhere near. You're like, what language are you speaking?
When you
It
go back
isn't.
a
It's
thousand
English.
years, it's not the same language. You
No.
wouldn't understand it. I've heard old Celtic language, and you can't discern that from anything. In
Oh,
fact, the Welsh, still to this day, they have a native tongue that they speak, and when they speak it, it's like no other language you've ever heard of. If you've ever heard the Welsh language, you wouldn't be able to identify it because it
yep.
doesn't sound like Spanish or any Latin like Italian or and even French is based on the ancient Latin language. Or and if you've studied uh, ancient Latin, a lot of this stuff sounds familiar, and you can certainly identify Asian or Indian languages.
Yeah.
But the Welsh and for that matter the Celtic languages, not anything like anything you've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. But, it's like I'm saying, though, how the English language itself has evolved from
Yeah,
Old English to what we have modern, fairly modern English to
yeah,
what it's
yeah.
going to evolve into,
Oh yeah,
like you're saying, with the LOLs, with
yeah.
all the,
Well,
not
not
just
only that,
terminology, but the
yeah,
shorthand, quote unquote, that's coming out.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
if
Well,
I was
here's
to
what
go a
bothers
hundred
me.
years
uh,
into the future, I wouldn't be able to read a damn thing anybody wrote.
because it'd be back to symbols.
Yep.
Here's where I was going with that. So I checked the lottery numbers of my local state whenever I'm buying a ticket. And the one particular game that I like to play, they have both a midday drawing and an evening drawing. Well, on the website, they used to say evening numbers
Yep.
or midday numbers. They don't even do that anymore. They put a sunshine for
Oh
the
my
daytime
god.
drawing and a moon for the evening drawing. And
I
you're just
just
supposed to interpret this as being either the midday drawing or the evening drawing. You
yeah.
see, they're not
And,
even writing the damn word anymore.
right.
They're
And
putting symbols up, and
here's
this
the
is on an official website from the state. You see,
yeah, oh yeah. Couple things. Now, we all get a kick out of the dash lights. Somebody comes on and goes, "Why is there somebody sitting on the toilet?"
yeah,
For certain things. I have an air fryer over here. Okay,
yeah,
digital. Nothing on that says on temperature or
oh,
anything
yeah,
else. It
yeah.
just has
Just
simple.
symbols. Yeah.
I can't figure out what the hell that they mean. Okay.
Well, you know where I lost it, because and this goes back to working on cars and trucks and vehicles. Somehow or another, our on-off switch that said on and off is now a one or a zero.
Right.
And that was always a European thing because
Yep.
they had to come up with an international symbol that
Right.
that broke the language barrier.
Yep.
You see, so over in Europe and in Asia, that was it. It's now a zero or a one.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and which also corresponds in with that with the binary language. But
Right.
yeah, that's where I lost it. I'm like, see, instead of saying on and off, it's got a one or a zero. That's where I
Yeah,
lost it. I'm
and
like,
here's
this is
where
too
Americans
much
get
for me.
confused. Well, 0, well, 1 or on starts with the 0, so that must be on. How come it's
Yeah,
not working?
yeah,
You know,
yeah. All
a
right,
slash or a single line, that means something was interrupted,
yeah.
you
You
know?
don't even see the E and F on your gas gauge anymore in a lot of these newer cars. They just got these little symbols that show, like for instance, there's
Oh,
one
yeah.
gal that I know. She doesn't even have the old sweep gauge on hers. Hers is
Right.
a stack of bars that goes
Yeah.
across just like your cell phone signal does.
Yeah,
And she
that's
tells me, and this is what's so cute. She says, "When I get down to 3 bars, I know I need more gas."
yeah. Yeah, the fuel gauge on my bike, which is the first bike I ever had that actually had a fuel gauge on it. Same
uh,
thing, it was just bars.
yeah,
So, I mean, it don't get me
yeah,
wrong, it's kind of a nice thing to know I don't have to take the cap off, look
yeah,
inside, or keep in my mind, I still do, how
yeah,
many miles I've gone
yeah,
versus how
yeah,
much fuel I had in it. Uh, it was a nice little thing, but I'm like, "Alright, well, it's stuck on 3 bars." I've been stuck on 3 bars for, the last 20 miles. Then all of a sudden, it's like blinking yellow, and I'm like, what the hell happened to bar number 2
Yeah.
green, bar number
Yeah.
1 green? How
Yeah.
come it went from 3 green bars to a blinking yellow bar?
Well,
I'm like,
this is
"Holy
what I've
shit."
noticed. No matter what vehicle, this seems to be the case with me. No matter what vehicle I've ever had, whether it's a Chrysler, a Dodge, or a GM, or a Ford, or a Honda motorcycle, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It always seems that when you fill the tank up, it takes forever for that thing to get down to half a tank.
Yeah, yep.
But from half a
Half
tank
the tank
to
down.
empty, that needle just goes down so fast. You're
Oh
like,
my
what
god,
the
yeah.
hell happened?
Yeah,
It was fine for the last 3 days. Now on the fourth day, I can run how can I run? Take me 3 days to burn up a half a tank of gas,
yeah.
but only 3 hours to burn the other half of the tank.
Yeah, it's kinda like, yeah, alright, I got a full tank. I can run from here to Georgia and only use
Yeah,
half a tank,
yeah.
but I can go,
You can't come back on a half tank.
can't come back on a half a tank, I can make it to the gas station on a
Yeah,
half a tank,
yeah,
it's like, "Holy
yeah,
what the hell's going on?"
yeah. And
Yeah,
there's
that
this gal that comes over here and does house cleaning for me, and uh, she's always in need of gas,
yeah,
And first of all, that's because she's driving a big 4-wheel drive Chevy Suburban kind of thing. That thing just sucks gas like nobody's business, and it doesn't run good, so it's even worse, you know. And I have to actually go down to the barn and get a can of gas and put in her truck just to get her back home.
speaking of the gas gauges, now tell me you haven't had this experience before.
Probably have.
90%, 99% of all the vehicles I had, when the gauge reads empty, you still got about an eighth of an inch to go before the thing starts sucking air.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a Toyota. As soon as that gauge hit the
It's
red
empty.
key,
It
that
was
was
empty.
it. It was done.
Well, there was some comedian
It
that
was
did a
done.
whole routine about that because he was talking about his American car. When the needle got on E, he knew he still had another 20 or 30 miles to
Yeah.
go.
Yep.
Not on these Japanese cars.
No,
When that
Jesus.
needle's on E, they mean it's empty.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
also I
oh
also
yeah,
learned years ago too. I do my best not to let any vehicle get below an eighth of a tank.
yeah.
I mean,
Boy,
just
that wasn't me. Not in the beginning when I was a teenager. Well, first of all, when I started driving, we were just getting over that OPEC oil embargo that
Yep.
caused gasoline prices to skyrocket to a ridiculous 77 cents a gallon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I'm driving a big block Oldsmobile that weighed about 15,000 pounds,
Oh yeah.
you know, big, huge luxury sedan. So, yeah, gas was always an issue. And here was the thing, I was the kind of kid that only made my money $3 or $5 at a time.
Oh yeah.
So I'd only be putting $3 or $5 in the tank at a time.
Yep.
I'd have to go rob piggy banks just to get gasoline money.
I
So
uh
I
I
never saw that car, the needle above empty. If I got to an eighth of a tank, hell, I was good for all night cruising.
well, I think the statute of limitations should be up by now. But yeah, back in the early mid '80s, well, back in the late '70s, early '80s, when I had the motorcycles and dirt
Yeah,
bikes and everything,
yeah.
I never, very rarely did I ever buy any gasoline because
He was taking it.
yeah,
He'd
well,
find it somewhere, right?
I knew where all the state trucks were parked,
Right.
and a lot of them were still using gas engines, and they'd have a 100, 200 gallon tank. All I needed was a gallon or so,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
they all had the petcock drains.
Oh
So
my God.
I would just
Yeah.
drain the gas out of them. I kept that up all through high school as well. That's how I
Mhm.
got my gas for my cars when I was in high school. I'd go to the same place, drain out 5 gallons instead of 1.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I told you about this. We had a summer home in Wisconsin, and me and my brother, we had this mini bike, and we'd ride it around. And here was the thing: we'd have a gallon gas can. Now the mini bike had just a little small, like 4 horsepower engine on it, and
Yep.
it had a gas tank connected to the engine. There
Oh,
was
yeah.
only about
Yep.
a quart of gas.
Yep.
that would hold an egg, but you could run that engine for about 2 or 3 hours
Oh
on a
yeah.
quart of gasoline. And here's my point, that we could take 50 cents and that 1 gallon gas can that we had over to the marina where they would refuel boats
Yep.
and get 50 cents worth of damn gasoline. And that was enough gasoline for both of us to ride that mini bike all weekend long,
Oh yeah.
you know? And you could find 50 cents in a damn couch cushion,
Yep.
And that was another comment that you remember me talking about that question on YouTube. That was another thing that I pointed out, that was, how a father could keep his children in bubble gum and ice cream all weekend long with just a change in his pocket,
Oh yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Good Lord. Yeah. I want Chris. Chris has been craving some sherbet, and Italian ice, and my God, just the little cups, a 6 pack of little cups. They're $1 a piece now.
yeah.
They're
Well,
six
you got
dollars.
an ice cream cone, a small one, which is ideal for a little kid, for a
Yeah.
quarter, you
Yeah.
know? And the old man could keep 3 kids happy, with bubble gum and ice cream cones just in a change in his pocket. In fact, we got damn good at being able to listen to the change
Change. Yep.
jingling in the old man's pocket. And we knew whether he was flush or whether he was getting low,
Yep. Yep. Oh my God. Yes.
And it would never fail because we'd always ask him for a dime or a nickel or a
Yep.
quarter. If you ask for a quarter, then he started asking questions. Then, what do you
Yep.
need so much money for?
Yep.
Hey, you just being greedy now.
Yep. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. And like you're talking about growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
All right. Unsupervised, basically.
Oh yeah.
You're
Yeah.
gone all day. You're back home when the lights come on. Okay,
Oh yeah.
depending on what time of year it was. And
Yep.
the other thing is too. I remember always before I left the house too. This was your parents showing that they loved you. Do you have a dime for a phone call?
Yeah.
Do you have a dime on you?
Well, you
All
know
right.
how your blue jeans always had that little watch pocket.
Yep. Yep.
My mother'd stick a dime in there, and she'd tell me, "Don't you lose that."
Right.
you
Yep.
know? That's your dime. That's for making a phone call. And here was the thing. I started getting that dime when I started going to junior high school. And sure enough, right down by the gymnasium in the
Hmm.
school, there was a payphone there, and it
Oh
took a
yeah.
dime,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. 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 I remember my schools and everything. They all had phone booths around, anywhere, at the entrances, down by, like you said, down by the gym and everything. And when I
Yep.
got to high school, out in the smoking area,
Yeah.
yes,
Yep.
high schools back in the day had a smoking area. That was
We
two.
had an
That,
area called the smoking court,
yep.
uh, but by the time I got to high school, but they closed that off because they was trying to discourage kids from smoking. So what do? We went outside the building, and you go up to the front of the high school. There were cigarette butts all over because one, they refused to put up ashtrays.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, and trying to
Yeah.
discourage the smoking thing, but that didn't work. You come up to the school and there'd be cigarette butts all over the place.
Eric brings up something that I forgot about. Now,
Right.
my brother-in-law had a bunch of old Volkswagens. He had the vans, he had the
Yeah,
wagons,
yeah.
and
They
stuff
didn't
like
have
that.
gas gauges in them,
And
did
he
they?
had a few that he put Porsche engines in as well. All right. But yeah, what I remember on a couple of his vehicles, it was just like a motorcycle. They had
Reserve.
a reserve switch on them. Yeah. And what all that is, and you know this, on that petcock, you have one with the tube and a filter, and it sticks
Yeah,
up so you're not getting everything right from the
sucking
bottom.
everything out of the bottom of the tank.
Right.
Yeah,
You reserve, and it depends on the style. I've seen a few very simple ones. It's just a hole, and it might have a little screen in it,
yeah,
and that's it. But it's right at the bottom of the tank, so
yeah,
you take a chance of sucking in all rust or any debris.
yeah.
That little
Yeah.
screen's supposed to help it.
Well, that's how
One,
it is. That's how it is on my lawn tractor.
yep,
If you flip the seat up, there's a little lever that you see 2 lines coming up out of the tank.
yep,
and it goes into a valve, and the valve you just flip it from one side to the other,
Yep.
and you flip it over, and that's your reserve. But I never use it. In fact, I ran out of gas. I went down to the neighbor's house, and on the way back, I ran out of gas. But rather than flipping the reserve over, I just walked the 500 feet, went and got a can, and came
I
back
got
and filled it. But yeah, that's the same. I got a jet ski. It's the same way. And here's the funny thing: the knob that turns the valve from on to reserve.
yeah.
Well, that it was made out of plastic and it broke off,
Oh God.
and you
Yep.
couldn't get a hold of that little pin that sticks out. But I got to looking at the pin, and I'm like, that looks exactly like the same exact stem. It's like a D
Yeah.
shaft.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, that looks exactly like what you would see on a gas stove.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I had a gas stove, so I went and pulled one of the knobs off of the gas stove, went down, and I'll be damned, it didn't fit on that jet ski. So still to this day, that jet ski's got a gas stove knob on the
Oh my.
reserve.
I would have used the oven one, so I'd have a graduated scale on the knob.
Yeah, there you go.
Not that it would work, but it'd still be
Well, the knob does have it's only 180-degree sweep on the knob, and it goes
right.
from
But
0 up to
yep.
10,
Yep.
you know.
I got
So
you.
but and you got to turn the thing 90 degrees.
Right. In order
Well, you
for
got to turn it 180 is what you
yeah.
got to do. You got to go from 180 this way to 180 this way.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not kidding you. I'll take a picture of it and send it to
Oh
you.
God. Yeah.
And showing you that there's a gas stove knob on my reserve switch to my jet ski, you know.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I like that. I like that. That's believe it or not, I did something similar. Uh, on one of my old wiper switches
Yeah.
on the dash. It wasn't from a gas stove. My God, what was it? I can't remember what it was. A funky looking knob, and
Yeah.
it had all sorts of little graduations on it and everything. I don't even know if I know what it came
I
off of.
had
It's one that was
I
hanging
had a
around.
I had an 86 Ford LTD2, if you remember those.
Oh my God, my first
And
car was a '79 LTD too.
yeah. Well, this was the later models that were
Yep.
more like the Fairmont
Right. Yep.
body style. And in fact, this would probably apply to Fairmonts too. But the knobs on all the dash, everything, whether it was the radio or the headlights or whatever it was, the knobs are the perfect size that you could stick a beer bottle cap right over the knobs and they stuck.
Oh no shit.
So I had all beer bottle caps on all my knobs. And, and people were like, hey, Phil, that ain't the smartest thing to fucking do. What if you get pulled over by the cops? They're going to start searching your vehicle. I'm
Yeah.
like, let them search. They ain't going to find nothing,
Yep.
except for a bunch of beer bottle caps.
Yep.
You
No
know?
kid.
But that's how you make things yours,
Oh
You know
yeah.
how you start to do, you make things yours,
Yep. Sometimes it's out of necessity. Sometimes it's just like it's quirkiness. Hey, this is
Well, but
oh my
it's the
God, it's big.
question of how did I come about
Yeah,
discovering the
right, yeah,
fact that a beer bottle cap will fit right
yeah,
on this knob?
yeah,
That's what's in question here.
yeah.
Mm,
Good Lord, yeah. Yeah, some of the crazy stuff. Just
yeah,
just off the wall. Simple, doesn't cause any harm or anything
yeah,
like that. But yeah, yeah, that is a good question, Philip.
yeah.
How did you figure that out?
Yeah, it's just one of them things.
Yeah,
Huh? You got a beer bottle cap in your hand,
and you're
you don't
looking at
want to throw it
the
out the
wall.
window. Hey,
I
look, that knob
wonder.
looks about the right size. They just stick it on there.
Like, holy shit, it sticks. Oh my God.
Bad. But here was the thing: I had these old '60s Oldsmobiles, and especially the big luxury sedans. They had some of the coolest looking knobs on them. That boy, and that was the thing. Them '50s and '60s cars, they had style to them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The engineers actually they right down to the little knob itself.
Yep.
They had to have something different. And Oldsmobiles, well, everybody was different. It
Yeah.
was the interior of the car's design was just as critical as the exterior design of the car.
Yep.
Now it's all cookie cutter.
Yep.
They don't put style into cars anymore. You know, And the generation that's the buying is the targeted demographic.
Right.
They're of the mindset that it's a utilitarian thing. See, the car culture, the people of our age, eventually the car culture thing is just going to go away because there won't be anybody left. And with that being said, here's what I used to notice when I was a teenager, and you had things like Barry Jackson auctions and stuff. All you saw on there was old Packards
Yep.
and Duesenbergs and stuff like that rolling up on the auction floor. Now they're rolling up with 70 CUDA 80 AARs and Chevelles and stuff like that. Well, that's the targeted demographic for that. That in another 20 or 30 years, they're going to start rolling across Teslas, you know.
Oh yeah.
And it's never, and that was just it in the 80s. I remember, especially when you started getting well into the 80s, car guys like me were like, none of these 80s cars are ever going to be classics. They're
Yeah.
not going to be classic, with
Yeah.
the exception of a few.
Yeah.
You had the Buick Grand National. In fact, there was another guy that on YouTube that was posting because he's got a Buick with the turbocharged V6,
Mm-hmm.
and he found an old advertisement that was an advertisement for Buick and the Grand National and the Regal that had the turbocharged V6 in it. And the advertisement shows, and I don't know what year this was, but it shows the Buick, and they said there's only 4 cars in the world being manufactured with a turbocharger, and they say 2 of them are Buicks. The
Yep.
other 2 was a Porsche and the Saab Turbo.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what the advertisement says. And this is what this guy posts. So I had to write him a comment. I told him, I says, I noticed that they didn't mention the 4.9 liter turbo Trans Am. I says, but then again, that's a car we all want to forget about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that thing was a downhill slide for Pontiac and Pontiac performance. But
God, yeah. Talking about what you're just talking about, the cars, especially
yeah,
the
they just
older
there was
cars
no,
during the decades and everything,
yeah,
back in the 70s and 80s, that was about a transition time where
yeah. Well,
you
we
could
got
still
Ralph
you could
Nader to thank for a lot of that because Ralph Nader stayed in positions of power and influence from like 1962 all the way to 1990.
yeah,
In fact, what people don't realize is in the early 80s, from the early 80s through to about the mid to late 80s, there wasn't a convertible car made because
oh
once
yeah,
he got done killing the Corvair, and he needed a new bone to chop on, uh, he started going after all convertible cars,
yep,
you know. And Oldsmobile was the first one to come out with a convertible car that was Ralph Nader approved.
oh God,
And
yeah,
that was that Olds Cutlass Calais that actually had a roll bar going up inside the car, if you remember those.
okay, yep, yeah. Well, like I was saying, because I remember, still being in my early teens and everything, right around the early 80s. Okay, late 70s, early 80s, and just getting into some of the cars. And I remember that's when you started seeing a little bit. I mean, they were still in demand, but the 50s, the
Yeah,
50 style cars, and they were, you know, I remember my dad going, "Oh my God!" I remember when they were brand new, they were a quarter
yeah,
of the price that they're asking for them right now. He said it's not
yeah,
worth it,
yeah, yeah,
not worth it. In
yeah.
the meantime, though, you could pick up, a late 60s and early 70s, quote unquote, muscle car, two
Oh,
to
yeah.
$500.
Well,
Nobody wanted them.
when
You
I
know,
started driving, the cars that I was driving was the cars the guy were trying to get rid of
yeah,
because, like I said, this is just post OPEC oil embargo,
right,
and all the big block, big luxury cars were
yep,
going cheap because the guys couldn't afford the gasoline for them anymore. The gasoline was no longer 35 cents a gallon.
yep, yeah,
You
and
know?
yeah, here's the thing, especially in high school, um, a lot of these cars they're only 10 to 15 years old, okay, but
Yeah,
they've been sitting,
yeah,
7 8 years or hardly driven. for the simple fact nobody wanted to pay for the gas. They're
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
anywhere from 5, depending on what it was, from 5 to maybe 12 miles to a gallon.
Yeah.
And people weren't, yeah, they're like, no, that thing's
Yeah.
too expensive. And you also have to remember too, back then with the oil and everything too, if you hit 100,000 miles on one of those vehicles,
That
that
was a
was
lot.
that was a lot. That was an accomplishment. I mean,
Well, and that was just it. I was buying them with damn near 100,000 miles on them. They were considered worn out.
yep,
And I'll
exactly.
tell you what, they were when they were city owned vehicles. You had a guy that had a big Olds 98 four door
Yep,
that you bought in a major metropolitan area. That thing was wore out. You'd already gone through four sets of brakes
yep.
at 100,000 miles. And I tell you that to tell you this: when when I moved down here, you can travel 10 or 15 miles without ever having to hit a stop sign.
Oh
Even
yeah, yep,
you got all these long country roads that when I got that PT Cruiser, I couldn't believe how long. First of all, brake technology had come a long way, but I couldn't believe that every time I checked the brakes, I'm thinking, okay, the cars went 20,000 miles. I need to be checking the brakes. They were still good.
yeah,
You know, I could get 80,000 miles, but why? Because it's not in stop and go traffic in the city. See, I was still in that mindset,
yep.
you know.
And a lot of
You can
things.
put 80,000 miles on a car here and only hit three traffic lights,
And
Hey,
another
keep that
thing that
thought
I
going. I
noticed.
got to I got to go inside for a minute, but keep the topic going.
Oh, I got you. Another thing I noticed too, being from Massachusetts, um, even if a car had 60 miles on it, 90% of the time the damn thing was rotted out. And I remember a lot of people would run down south or run out west, and they would pick up a vehicle, didn't have an engine, or if it did, it was seized up or it was wore out. Same with the transmission and everything. And they would buy that for the body, and they would have the same car. They'd buy a used car that's all wore out, rotted out, holes in the floor, basically falling apart from Massachusetts, and they would buy that for the engine and transmission and the drivetrain and everything because that was, I mean, the bodies up there back in, especially back in the 70s, and by the time the 80s rolled around, the bodies on those vehicles would just they would be gone. They would be rusted out. They'd be rotted out due to all the salt that they put down on the roads, you know, and everything. And but the engines would still be good. There'd still be some life left in the engine and transmission and the drivetrain. Whereas you get to a place that has nicer weather, don't use as much salt, doesn't have as much snow. The bodies would be good, comparatively speaking, but the drivetrain would be wore out. So yeah, there was a lot of people that would come down south just to get the bodies because they'd already have a good engine, and yeah, they do a swap. Now, of course, these aren't people that are trying to restore anything and keep matching numbers. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was honestly a lot of people, teenagers that had family down south or knew somebody and had the money to transport everything. But a lot of people that were in their mid to late 20s, early 30s. That's what they were doing. They were snatching up that all these southern cars, all these cars that are not in the Rust Belt, basically. And I had quite a few friends, older friends, that did that every summer. They'd come back, they'd take a trip. Actually, a lot of times they'd take it in the wintertime, come down south, pick up a couple of used cars that needed engines, didn't have any engine, or engine was wore out, bring them back up north, and my God, they could triple their money in a heartbeat. But but yeah, like I was saying, back during the late 70s, early 80s, and everything, I was starting to see a trend from getting away from. Well, actually, I started noticing the cars from 20s and 30s, which were when I was real young. Those were the big, what everyone wanted. Okay, those were collector cars. I can make money off of this old Model T. I can make money off this Duesenberg. I can make money off this whatever it was. Then I started switched to the cars from the 50s. Okay, and of course everybody thinks the 57 Chevys, but the Buicks and everything else too, even some Fords. You know, um, and not just the ones that were hot rodded, although those seem to get garner the higher prices. But that's what people wanted. And in the meantime, like I said, I always thought that the late '60s, mid to late '60s, early '70s cars were cool. And now that I'm old enough, you know, to actually appreciate them, they're out of my price range. Yeah, we could pick them up as teenagers, like I said, two, three, $400, $500, and everything. But again, we were teenagers. You give us a 400 horsepower car, you know, that weighs 1,500 pounds. Some of them, or it doesn't really matter what it what it weighed, but 90% of them were wrapped around a tree or in a ditch after, within 3 months after we bought the old muscle cars for $200 or $300. If you remember that, Philip, 90% of them, six
Yeah,
months after us teenagers bought the used muscle cars, they
yeah.
were wrapped around a tree, flipped over in a
Oh yeah,
ditch, in the lake,
oh
or
yeah,
something like that. So
yeah, yeah.
we we did a lot to get rid of those old cars. Not to mention,
Well,
you had the
here's
Dukes
the
of
thing.
Hazzard on TV and all
You
these
try
other
to, yeah,
shows.
you try to find those old 392 Hemis, the old
Oh yeah,
Imperials. You can't find them anymore because they were so popular on the drag strip.
yep.
Guys start burning nitromethane in them and blow them up. You can't. I'll tell you what. If you find an old 392 now, that thing's worth its weight in gold.
Oh yeah.
You know. But I remembered while I was in the house that name had come to me. If you remember Paul Harvey,
Paul, oh my God, yes, I grew up
Paul
listening
Harvey,
to him.
and
Yes,
he's got a,
yes,
and you can find it on
yep.
social media where he talks about the founding fathers. He's got a lot of good oracle kind of stuff. He was just that. He was a great orator.
Well,
And my favorite is, of course, when he talks about how God made a farmer. If you've ever heard that, you got to check it out.
I probably have.
It
Like I
starts
said, I
with Paul Harvey starts the whole story with this line. He says, "And on the eighth day,
okay,
God created a farmer."
yep,
And then he goes on to what a farmer is, and that's great. In fact, Dodge, just only a couple of years ago, was using excerpts from with Paul Harvey doing his oracle
yep.
uh, on the farmer. They used that as a Dodge pickup truck commercial.
Oh, no kidding,
Yep.
no kidding. Yeah, and now for the rest of the story.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
Eric.
And he would come on every day, and there's one radio station that I was listening to. They'd come on with Paul Harvey, and he'd always end because he'd go on for 7 or 8 minutes, giving you the rest of the story,
Yep.
and he'd always finish the story with a product plug. Only
Oh yeah.
Paul
Yep.
Harvey always did it with a story. And the one that I still remember to this day, and I'll see if I can do it in the same Paul Harvey style. He says, because he starts off making it sound like a news story.
Yep.
And he'd be like, in the Wyndham Nursery Center in Puxatawny, Florida, they've found a new miracle cure for aching joints, knees, and elbows. It's not anything new. It's an old product that they're applying in a new way. Yes, it soothes the aching joints and creaking knees and elbows. And what is this miracle product? WD-40.
What do you yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
That's the kind of style that
Yep.
he would do. You
Yep.
tell you about some nursing home in Florida where they found a miracle cure for your aching joints. And what is it? It's WD-40.
WD-40. I got you. Eric here was saying, I thought American cars were tanks, but almost every European car passes 200,000 kilometers. That's metric for more than 100,000 miles.
Well,
Um,
American cars are tanks because they can take a direct hit and keep going.
yeah,
You see?
but here's the thing: is kind of like Harleys. Okay, what made American cars last so long is that they were easy, simple, and parts were available to
Yeah,
rebuild them.
yeah.
Back in the day, that was the thing. Now, yes,
Well, that was
every
the premise back in the day. See, they
right,
used to build cars like they use like American televisions. They were
yeah,
designed to last forever. You just got to replace a part every now and then. But
right,
they've gotten away from that.
yep,
And go
well,
ahead.
the European cars, comparable to that time, the 70s and everything. Uh, yeah, they were more precise. The tolerances, everything else, and they would last longer. But try to rebuild them. Oh my God, yeah, you needed an engineering degree,
Yeah. Yeah, the
to do
idea
it.
behind it, like the Chevy, and the Chevy small block is a perfect example.
Yes,
You can put 100 or 200,000 miles on that engine, and when it's finally done and it won't run for you no more, you just take it apart, rebuild it, go another 200. And
right.
and the manufacturer actually allowed for that when they were designing the thing. That they designed it where you could rebuild it three
Yeah,
different times.
yeah,
You see, and so you get 600,000 miles out of a single engine. You know,
yep,
and that was the premise. But they don't do it like that now. They're building them like Swiss watches with precision machining now. That
right.
you know, and the LS engine that you see out right now that's just popular and everybody's LS swap and everything. I
Right,
get
right.
tired of seeing the LS swaps, you know. But that is the new. It's the same premise, just the newer version.
Right.
It is the new Chevy small block. You
Yep.
know. The problem now is that everybody who's made manufacturing parts, and especially camshafts and lifters, seem to
Yep.
be the big issue right now,
Yep.
is that they're going overseas. They're letting the Chinese make them dirt cheap. So they're using inferior metals and inferior processes. And now everybody's having a problem with cam lobes flattening and lifters going bad. Well, that's because they're just not maintaining the level of quality control. But that's what happens when you start getting cheap, you know,
Yeah. Well, not only
and,
that,
and
I mean,
that,
if you think about it overall, I mean, there's still demand for flat tappets. There still is, but overall, it is such a
yeah.
small demand. It's monetarily, financially, it really isn't worth having
Well, when you come to the roller
business for it.
camshafts and the roller lifters, see that's the thing. The LS engines come with roller lifters in them.
Yep.
The new Hemis, the new 392 Hemis, the new ones, they all come with roller lifters. Everything's coming to roller lifters now. And uh, with that being said, you don't need to have forged camshafts anymore. You can get away with just using a billet camshaft. But
Yeah.
what happens when a roller fails or a bearing fails? And that's where the quality control comes in
Oh, yeah.
because there's
Yep.
still precision tolerances. You
Yep.
allow a tenth of a thousandth of an inch of slop. Well, that's going to wear over time because you're trying to do it with metals that haven't been heat treated or hardened,
Yeah, well, even with
and
the
you're going to
roller
wear them out.
lifters, I've run into problems even with the new roller lifters, okay?
Yeah. Well, they're
We
not rolling
found
straight,
well,
is what the
it's
problem
not
is.
only that, but the body of 'em there has been several brand new brand new, not remanufactured, not
Yeah.
rebuilt or anything, because you can rebuild a lifter, a hydraulic lifter,
Yeah.
okay? They have marketed as brand new, found out that they were either remanufactured, being sold as brand new,
Yeah.
unused,
Yeah.
because the tolerances, is just like a cylinder bore for a piston. All right.
Yeah.
The piston had been turned, the cylinder bore had been turned, and the tolerance was not keeping the oil in the lifter, so it was leaking down. It was,
Yeah. Yeah. And
and
they're
brand
not
new
doing
lift.
what it's supposed to do.
I got a set of 30-year-old lifters that are still pumped up,
Yeah.
original stock, and fortunately, they're hydraulic rollers. And
Yeah.
I kept them for a simple fact. All right, unlike a flat tappet, I don't have to worry what cam I put them on or use them with. It doesn't matter, you know. And they're still good. They're still pumped up. They're still, my
Oh
God,
yeah,
they're fine.
I've watched dozens of videos of guys that are having lifter problems, so they go back to the old stuff that they took out
Yeah,
because it works.
yeah,
But uh, here's my point. Let's just talk about, and here's $1 million idea that I'm going to give away right here. That everybody's going with these roller lifters, and most manufacturers are using roller lifters now. But what's crucial in that is that it's a roller. It's got to
right.
roll, which means it's got to be a perfect alignment.
Yep,
If the alignment starts to skew one way or the other, now it's doing nothing but dragging and grinding and wearing
yep,
away. Well, how you do away with that issue is instead of having a roller, have a ball and socket version so that if there is misalignment,
it doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't
Yeah,
create the drag to start
right.
grinding the wear. Instead of having a roller, have a ball and socket. Just like the tip of a ballpoint pen,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that roller ball can go in any direction
Yep,
depending upon the direction of force on it. If that camshaft wants to start walking one way or the other, well, the ball end
right.
can keep up with that.
Keep up.
You
Yeah,
know,
I got you. I
and no
wonder.
one's doing that. You start making ball end lifters, especially, and this is what you do: you come into the market with a solid ball end
Right.
lifter.
Yeah,
You know, that actually, well, I don't mean solid, but I mean it actually has to sit in a pool of oil and high levels of hydraulic pressure, but it can't escape. If you get just the right oil pressure and you do a ball in, then the problems go away that you
yeah,
have with a roller. Just do a ball in. No one's doing that.
yeah.
You
I
know.
got you. I got you. Yeah, yeah. That's not a bad idea. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know the pressures, the
Yeah. Well, I'm
tolerances.
no engineer either, but just common sense.
Yeah,
All you got
how
to do is think about something long enough, and you'll figure it out.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, speaking. Oh my God. Speaking of flat tappet, the angles, and roller
And well, that was
cam.
the thing about a flat tappet, is because when you really look at how that thing works, as the cam keeps coming around, they deliberately put the tappet off center
Yeah,
of the lobe of the cam so that the lifter can rotate because it's off center, and that off center causes a rotation in the lifter. So the lifter is constantly spinning in a circle, and that's to create even wear. Well, if you do away with that, and here's the thing: the engine block itself, like an old Chevy small block or any Chrysler, the 340s or 318s, they deliberately designed that thing to have the lifter off center of the camshaft so that the lifter would spin,
yeah,
would rotate. So
yeah.
it gets even wear all the way around.
There's a
Well, when
couple
you do away with
things.
that, put a roller in there. Now what you're doing is you're not using the full lobe.
Yeah,
You're only on half of the lobe, and you're tracking in the same spot every time, and
yeah.
that's what creates the wear. And then if that roller isn't rolling, you got serious problems there.
Oh yeah. I
And
mean, there's subtle differences between the a flat
and
tappet
yeah,
cam and a roller cam.
yep,
Flat tappet cams on their lobes, they're slightly tapered, just like a flat tappet is not actually flat. It's supposed to be
yeah,
convex, and
yeah,
that all helps
yeah,
for it to spin so it doesn't just wear out.
exactly. And
And as
it's only the difference is only a few tenths of a
oh yeah,
thousandth of an
yeah,
inch.
it's not much at all, but
It's
it
that's
is enough.
indetectable by the human eye or the human touch.
Yep.
You know, in
And
fact, they back in the day, see, when they were making lifters, they would grade them. You had an A, B, and C grade.
yep.
You know, and that was the whole purpose for getting into the tenth of a thousandth of an inch. and getting precision instruments that can measure that. I used to work for Mitutoyo Corporation as a repair technician, repairing all of their precision measuring instruments. And it blew me away when I started working for the company, just what kind of instruments that company produces that can detect that kind of stuff. They would do laser stuff that can get it to within a tenth of a
Oh,
millionth
good lord.
of an inch,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, again, talking about flat tappet cams and roller cams too. The roller cams, you don't want that taper, okay? Because it's on a roll, and like you said, you don't want any or as little side movement on that roller. You want that roller going across the nice flat surface, so it'll roll. And when you try to, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
When you try to put a flat tappet on a roller cam, they won't spin. Now, a lot of people say you can run a roller on a flat tappet cam, and yeah, it'll work for a while. You're not going to get the 100,000 miles out of it.
Yeah.
You're going to run into problems. It will work, and it'll work a lot better than trying to put a flat tappet on a roller cam because that flat tappet it'll stop spinning and you'll wear it out before you even get the 20-minute break in.
Yeah. Well, that was my point. That if
Yeah.
you the problem comes in with the engine block when you start stepping over to a roller lifters, is because the camshaft is still off center, even though the camshaft may be designed for a roller lifter
Yep.
and give you greater duration, which is the advantage of having a roller lifter, especially a solid roller lifter. You're still off center of the camshaft
Yep.
because of the blocks design. The blocks design was to deliberately put it off center.
Yep.
So there's still that lateral force rather than the linear force
Right.
going on. So you're still going to wear out roller lifters.
Now
I got
there
my boy
is
kitty over here just crying like crazy. I don't know what he wants.
now to the best of my ability, what I learned uh, doing doing the Dodge engine, and the difference between the LA flat tappet, the LA roller cam, factory roller cam, and the Magnum roller cam. Um, as far as the lifters go, obviously the LA roller cam and the Magnum, which is a roller cam
Yeah,
engine, not only
yeah,
are the bosses where the lifters sit, not only are they bigger, but there was a slight redesign in the casting, like you're saying, so that the roller cam is more aligned and
more aligned with the
with,
lobes of the
with the
camshaft.
yeah with the lifters, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
so that
yeah,
you're not sitting on the end of the
yeah,
lobes,
yeah.
okay.
But
Uh,
that's just it. Um, uh,
oh,
it's
good
it's
morning,
about it's
Lyle.
about the purpose that you're trying to achieve. You're trying to create an engine that will have longevity.
Right,
Well, this is not the thing for you. If you're looking for an engine that's going to create performance, well, there's going to be a higher maintenance level to that. But so long as you maintain it,
right.
you can achieve that higher level of performance. There are guys out there that, you know, because I follow drag racing so close, these guys are on the cutting edge of technology. They're pushing the
Yep.
envelopes, and that's just it. I mean, they get a quarter mile pass, and then they're rebuilding the engines
Right,
again,
exactly. Yeah,
you know.
you're
But you
running
know
it.
what? They got that kind of money to throw at it, you know.
I mean, if you think about it, total time on some of these engines that they run on drag racing, and I'm not talking the 4 seconds it takes them to get down. I'm talking
Yeah,
the total run from when they put it together to when they rip it down again. Honest to God, is usually less than an hour. You know
yeah, yeah.
that engine was put
Well,
together.
when
It
you do
ran
the
for
same damn thing 1,000 times over, you get kind of good at it, you know.
yeah, but I mean, no matter how good you get, I can't afford to build an engine every hour. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly, exactly. And that's at the highest levels, but
Yeah,
there are still guys out there that are at the lower levels.
every
Here's
season,
the
every
thing:
season.
they'll spend months and months and months
Yep,
building an engine to take it out and thrash on it for a weekend, and chances are something's going to break.
yep,
And but it broke while they won the race, and now they got to advance to the next round. So now they're in the pits thrashing,
Yep.
trying to grab whatever part they can get to work. You know, they've got $100,000 tied up into an engine that they're now throwing another $20,000 worth of parts into just to get them to the next round. And that's the thing. If that's your thing,
Oh
that's
yeah.
cool. You know, it's not. It
Well,
can't be my thing. I just can't keep throwing money at expensive ass hobbies like that.
yeah.
But you know what? It's entertaining, and it is entertaining to watch, though.
I'll tell you what too. Winning is awesome. That's a big motivation.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Even if it's, let's say, yeah, you spent $100,000 on the engine and you won, but you trashed the engine, and the grand prize was $5,000. That's still, you won. You're the king for that day. You
Well,
won.
that's just it. That's just it. It only starts paying off at the highest levels.
Yeah.
John Force put it best when he said that if you think you're going to make a small fortune in top field drag racing, start with a big one.
Yeah.
I mean, start with
Yeah.
a big
Yep.
fortune
Big
to make a
fortune
little
so you can
fortune.
make a small fortune. But more than that, a lot of people, and I know you know this, a lot of people, they just love the challenge and the
Yeah,
thrill.
that's
That's
what
the
it's all about.
driving force. All
It's
right,
about winning
some
that race.
yeah, something let go. Can I fix it? What let go? What was the problem? Let me try this. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that worked. And then during the downtime, they got to. I What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I use this part?
yep,
What if I changed
yep.
this? But anyway, one-eyed cat is here too. He's he's on break for 3 more minutes. All right, awesome, awesome. But anyway, a lot of it is, and I understand that, the mechanical challenge, the thought, and the
Ah,
all of that is good for a lot of people. That is a motivating factor. Oops, I lost you, Philip. I'm guessing that your battery light came on and the battery died. But and I don't know that much. Everybody already knows that. You know, I'm trying to keep my junk running basically, and I don't have time or money to get into a whole lot of racing or hyping up an engine. But I still like, I like seeing getting something old. And yeah, I saw I lost you, Philip. I'm sorry, buddy. Um, I don't know if it's on my end with the storms coming in or if it was on yours. But oh yeah, Lyle. Yep. Go Jeep, go. I gotcha. I gotcha. All right, one-eyed cat. It was good. I'm glad you stopped by, buddy. You have a good one. You take care. Tell the wife I said hi. Um. All right, Philip. Yeah, it was on your end. All right, buddy. No problem. But yeah, what I was saying is, just clean out the shed, and I'm like any regular guy. I like to have things neat and organized, but I hate going in to neaten, clean, and organize everything. But all right, Philip, you take care, buddy. Um, and so of course, when me and my brother-in-law John were out there straightening out my shed and everything, getting it cleaned up, I got sidetracked and saw a couple of little lawnmower engines I forgot I had. And again, like I said, I was like, well, should I throw them away? And I got into looking at them and everything and tore them down a little bit, and they're fine. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed taking an engine. One of them was stuck. It wasn't quite seized, but it had been sitting for so long. I had to break it free and everything, and make sure that the valves were still working on it. Um, and I checked all that out, and it's a simple little engine, but I found that challenge, and I spent 3 hours on it, and I didn't even notice. I mean, I thought I'd spend about an hour on that engine. I took it apart, cleaned it all up, and got it going. And to me, that was an accomplishment. Then I came in the house, and the wife said, "Well, how much progress did you make on cleaning up the shed?" I was like, "None." I kind of went the opposite direction because I got sidetracked on working on another project. But I got another lawnmower engine that's running, and it's running good. So, well, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. It's sitting in the corner on top of the other lawnmower engine that I got going the other day. And they're there in case I need them. But it was just the challenge of seeing something old that has no practical use at the moment for me, but seeing if I could get the damn thing to work. And it's not just engines. I've done that with a lot of other things, even household appliances, anything like that. So I can understand. My whole point is I can understand the racing too. It's not just the winning a lot of times. It's what can I do with what I got? How can I make this better? It's a challenge. Or what broken? Can I fix it? And can I fix it within the hour that I have for downtime? It's a lot of it is that challenge too. And when you succeed, that's a good feeling. I can equate this to woodworking too, and I can look at a bunch of scrap wood and envision something that I need or want built, and I see that vision come together. And no, I'm a hack again, just like everything I do with woodworking, with you know, automotive, with anything I do. I'm not a master, but I like taking the old wood, cleaning it up, and I have videos and pictures of stuff I've done. I don't show the process because I am a hack, and the way the internet is getting nowadays, I don't need to hear or get a lawsuit in the mail because somebody watched me, an idiot, do something unsafe, making something, and they decide to follow me and get themselves hurt, and now they're going to blame it on me. I don't need that. That's why a lot of my videos, I say right off the bat, if you watch my videos, this is not instructions on how to do something. This is probably better off think of it as how not to do it. And you'll probably keep all your digits, keep all your eyes and body parts intact if you don't do what I do or look at me and go, yeah, that's dangerous. That's a mistake. Don't do it. That's more or less what my videos will teach you. Eric, I'm in fact thinking a bit these days about how I'm only attracted by older automotive stuff. New stuff doesn't interest me at all. It's even hard to keep a conversation about it. Yeah, I'm the same way. I put it down to my age, Eric, and what I'm familiar with. Um, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. Even my Dodge, the fuel injection, and it's just a throttle body. Um, I'm still learning about that whole system, and that's yeah. Well, that particular truck is a 32-year-old system, but it's older than that. And a carburetor, that's what I grew up working on. 90% of my vehicles I ever owned. And when I first got into working on automotive stuff, not generally because I wanted to, but because I had to, were all carbureted. A distributor too, not a coil pack. You know, um, so even my truck, the way it's set up right now, is still a little bit too new for me. And I'm still, I love and really want to get that other engine in that truck and get rid of all the electronics, but it's running so damn good right now. I don't want to jinx myself. that I'm literally also considering uh, that I might hold off on swapping that engine, maybe because I don't want to. The systems on that truck are working so good right now. I don't want to swap them out, but I'm really thinking about just refreshing the engine that's in it. Just bearings, maybe a hone. I don't know what the cylinders look like. I mean, they could be hourglass shaped. I mean, they could be egg shaped big time, where no matter what I do to it, the rings will never seal again. But I mean, the damn thing is just running so well, even with all the miles on it. That yeah, if I could, if I was younger and I could, like I did 20 years ago, pull the engine and take 2 weekends just to freshen it up without having to send it to a machine shop and toss it back in, I might do that. I mean, if God, it's just running so good. But yeah, yeah, Eric, yeah, and yeah, 26-year-old vehicle to me is still. It's a 2000. Yeah, that's almost brand. Wait a second. No, it's not. It's not almost brand new. It's half my age now. Well, almost half my age. I'll be 60. I'll be turning 60 on Sunday. Um, but yeah, the mindset. I'm still. I still like the older vehicles, and like I said, a lot of it is because that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I know, and again, my pickup truck has left me stranded, not too far away, but a couple times, and it was all due to electronics. The brain box went out on it, and I had to have it towed. The fuel pump twice. Fuel pump. One was brand new, went out on it, and unfortunately, I didn't have a little electric fuel pump or anything, so there was no way I could bypass the stock system. With the carburetor, not a big deal. And I've done it before. I've either poured gas directly into the carburetor with one hand. This was in a van, you know, to get me out of the woods and get me to a place where I could get another fuel pump. I always, in my old pickup truck, I always used to carry, my old 69. I always carried a spare fuel pump behind the seat because, two bolts, two lines, a little bit of grunting, groaning, and cussing. And in about 20 to 30 minutes, wherever you were, if I was on the side of the road and it was dark and it was raining, yeah, we're looking at 30 minutes to swap it out, but then I'm back on the road again. Um, Poor old Dodge, there was nothing I could do. Um, I couldn't hook up I used to carry a tank with me too. I think I still have it out in the shed. It's just a little 1 gallon fuel tank, and it's got a petcock on the bottom of it. Or I can hook a fuel line up to it and hook a fuel line up to the intake on a carburetor, set it up on the hood or under the hood if I got room, or set it up on the roof of the vehicle and gravity feed it. I can't do that with the fuel injection systems. Um, and like I said too, I am kind of excited about an idea that I am going to work through with this new engine. I have two areas on this carburetor for inlet. It's on either side. You know, so it doesn't matter where your original fuel line ran, either right passenger side or driver side. And what I want to do is I have the engine set up for mechanical fuel pump. I put the eccentric on the long nose camshaft that I put in it, and I got a different timing cover because the original one was molded, well, was cast so that you could put a fuel pump in it, mechanical, but they never machined it, so it wasn't open; it was closed. So I got an older one, so I got a fuel pump on it, mechanical, but I also want to keep the electric fuel pump. and I'll run that through a fuel pressure regulator to one side of the engine. Plus, I'll have a flow through, so it'll just keep recirculating the fuel. Helps eliminate any vapor lock. The fuel won't sit in the carburetor, won't get hot. But I also want to run the mechanical fuel pump, and I figure I'll just put a couple valves on it. One to the return line, so that when the mechanical fuel pump is running, if I'm not using it to feed the carburetor, it'll just feed to the return line back to the tank. I'll also have a shut off, so if the diaphragm goes out, even though that fuel pump, mechanical fuel pump, is still going, it's not going to fill the block with gasoline. Put gas in the oil, and I'll have it vented so that it also is not trying to create what little bit of suction it can. It just vent if I'm not, if the diaphragm goes out. The electric fuel pump, that's easy enough. I just throw a toggle switch on, close it off, and we'll see about so it doesn't back up. But the fuel shouldn't back up if I'm just running the mechanical fuel pump, because it'll be feeding through the carburetor on the other side. And I can always put a one-way check valve in, or I can put another valve in that I can, either manually turn or electric valve to turn the feed line off if the electric fuel pump ain't running. That way I'll have two fuel pumps. But and why would I want to do that? Well, a lot of times I got the camper on the truck and we're out in the woods somewhere. With the camper on the truck, fuel pump goes out. I have got to drop the tank. I already cut a hole in the top where I can pull the fuel pump out if I need to. But with the camper on it, I can't get to it. And with the mechanical fuel pump only, well, if that goes out, yeah, I'll keep a spare behind the seat, but I still got to get out in the woods, maybe in the rain or bad weather, and swap it, or on the side of the road and try to swap it out. But if I have two, if one goes out, I can swap over to the other, wait till I get home, or wait till I get to a better place or better weather, and then change them out. But that's my thoughts. Same with the distributor. I have three distributors. I have the one that's a one wire aftermarket distributor, electronic. Yes, I think it's 80,000 volts is what it goes through. So high energy, and that's its own setup. It's standalone. I don't need anything from the truck itself to make it operate. But I also have a points distributor that'll work in there, and I have a ballast resistor if I need to put it on there, because I also have the Petronics, stock Dodge Petronics electronic distributor. And I actually have four, because I have the stock TBI distributor that runs through the computer, but I don't, once I put the other engine in, I don't plan on having that computer even hooked up anymore. So I think that would kind of wouldn't work. But the other Petronics with the ballast resistor and everything, that'd be easy enough to hook up. Same with the points. So yeah, I have a backup for the ignition on it as well as the fuel. Uh, Same with the alternator. Um, I have an external bolt-on voltage regulator, and that's easy enough to carry an extra one behind the seat next to the fuel pump. So I have some backup systems that I'm planning on for the truck. Because again, I've been stuck a few times with it. Fortunately, it wasn't too far away from home, and it didn't put me in a bad situation. But I don't like that. Yeah. Speaking of bad situations, 2 weeks ago, I'm headed home from work. I just get on the highway, and we have a merge lane, and I'm looking to my left a little bit so I can merge over, because the merge lane eventually runs out. So I'm kind of paying more attention to what's on my left side, making sure the lane is clear. And there was a car in front of me, and I'm, of course, watching that too. You have two eyes. I'm looking in two different directions.
Mhm.
And I saw out of the corner of my eye the car in front of me had run over something and kicked it up. And it looked like a spear, basically, long, thin piece of metal. And I heard it hit underneath the truck. And I'm like, oh, man. Well, I'm going down the road and tires are fine. That's what was in my mind. I hope it didn't puncture a tire or anything. And so I went down the road about 2 minutes or so. And all of a sudden, I lost all my oil pressure. I'm like, oh my God. I pull over right at an exit between the on ramp and the off ramp on the highway. I pull over. There's a big spot to pull over. I open the door. I look under the truck, and oil is just dumping out of the thing. So I turn the engine off. And you got to realize one of the harder days we had, it's pushing around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Of course, the engine's hot. All the oil coming out of it's hot. I'm on the highway pavement, so there's no shadows in the middle of the sun. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon, part of the hottest part of the day. I get under there, and yeah, oil is just that whole truck underside is just coated in oil, and it's just dripping from everywhere, and I'm getting soaked. And the shit's hot. It's hot, and I'm looking at the oil pan. I'm trying to find a hole in the oil pan or something, and I can't find it. I'm like, all right, everything is leaking down. I can't pinpoint it. And to me, it looked like it was coming from the rear seal. And I'm like, well, how can that be? Unless it just naturally decided to let go coincidentally at the same time. So I was like, okay, well, I checked the oil and I still had some in the engine. So I said, well, let me crank it up just for a second. So I started the engine up and I took a quick peek underneath the engine. I couldn't see exactly where it was coming from, but I could see the area that it was leaking out of. So I crawled back under and I looked, and I don't know how the hell this happened. I don't know how it did it, but that thing had put a hole in my oil filter, and that filter, especially on that Dodge, it's tucked up there, and I even got the exhaust in the way, protecting it a little bit. But yeah, sure and shit, there's a hole in the oil filter. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't as bad as I thought. And at first it's going through my mind. All right, I'll call my brother-in-law, see if he'll, pick up an oil filter for me. I got oil. I just gotten 5 quarts of oil for the truck because it does go through oil. I like to make sure I have some, and I just gotten 5 quarts. So that's brand new. And then I remembered when I bought the truck 8 years ago. The guy I bought it from, he said there's a brand new oil filter behind the seat. Now I have changed the oil on it several times, a bunch of times in those 8 years. But I kept forgetting that that oil filter was behind the seat. And I lifted the seat up, and believe it or not, it was sitting. I mean, the back of my seat, I got all sorts of junk and stuff behind the seat, but this was sitting right on top. And so, yeah, I went under and I pulled the oil filter off, put the new one on, filled her back up with oil, and she's been running for the last 2 weeks like that, no problem. So, yeah, I mean, the worst that happened was that it scared me, but ended up with pretty much almost an oil change, full oil change on it because it used 4 out of the 5 quarts to get it back up, and it's a 6 quart pan, so it had 2 quarts of oil in it. Um, but yeah, it took 4 quarts to get it back up to the safe level. But yeah, I mean, speaking of just extra things, having a backup for everything, that was something I didn't even think about, but came in handy. That had the oil filter behind the seat, been sitting there for 8 years. So now when I still have got to go out and I'm going to pick up 2 oil filters and as well as some more oil. Um, One because I like to have oil, and I got antifreeze, and I got transmission fluid that I carry in the truck as well as a bunch of tools. But yeah, when I pick up oil filter, one will be for the next oil change. The other one will be to keep behind the seat for another 8 years. For emergencies. But anyway,
Mhm.
well, anyway, Eric, glad everyone stayed with me for a little bit. And Philip, as always, it was great to see you. I love having you here, man. You make an awesome co-host for me. I really do appreciate it. Um, but the wife is up now, and so I'm gonna spend some time with her, and I'm gonna cut this off now. Yeah, 2 hours. Yeah. Oh my God. Same as always. Just got babbling. Lost all track of time. But y'all take care and thank you all for stopping by. Appreciate it. It was good to see everyone. And I know it's the middle of the week and it's an odd time. It's morning. Everybody's at work. I'm not. But y'all take care and we'll see if I get a chance here to do a live stream this weekend. I might do it on Sunday. Sunday's my birthday. And if I do a live stream on Sunday, that means hopefully nobody's gonna, come in and want to talk to me and want to do something for my birthday. I can just ignore the fact that I'm just turning 60. No other birthday has bothered me as much as this one. It's starting to, I guess I'm starting to feel old. Probably because I am. But anyway, yeah, long New England goodbye. Yeah, goodbye. Got to go. 20 minutes later, still saying goodbye. But anyway, you all take care and thank you for stopping by, tuning in, and all the comments. I really do appreciate it. Y'all have a good week, and we'll try and see you this weekend. And that's all, folks. As soon as I can find the button to turn it off. There we go. Alrighty.